They used to laugh about Earth in the early cycles. For over 300 years, the galactic convergence had dispatched signals, emissaries, and diplomats toward the Sol system. Some believed humans were too backward. Others assumed they'd annihilated themselves in nuclear folly. Most simply didn't bother. Earth had never responded to a single summit call, ignored every beacon. To the dominant species of the Galactic Council, humanity was just another fated name on the long list of races that had erased themselves until the stars shifted. Commander Thale of the Vornari Dominion monitored the outer rim of the Terran expansion zone from the command bridge of the Namari Ascendant, a war cruiser of the escort class stationed beside a neutral gate nexus. It was a monotonous role. Standard years patrolling void sectors between trade lanes, dodging pirates and scattered AI relics. But today, something flickered. Commander Hiscom's officer said, antennae twitching, eyes wide. New grav signatures, doesn't know, hundreds, all human-coded. Thale turned, his second heart skipping a beat, confirmed that. The officer leaned in, triple-checking the display. Earth vessel IDs, Commander. They've got soul-stamped. Engines. And they're not hiding. No. They were broadcasting, not words. Not pleas for entry into the galactic stage. Not relic Earth music or diplomatic colors. They broadcast silence and presence. The ships were immense, dark, battered like survivors of wars no one remembered. They positioned themselves along 1,000 system borders, all facing outward, unmoving, watching. Within seconds, every governing body received the same packet. It wasn't a threat. It was history. Inside, archived atrocities images of humans enslaved by galactic powers during early contact, dissections, labs that dissected early astronauts and labeled them subsentient. Experiments, ridicule, and state-sanctioned murder recorded. All dated. No empire had ever confessed. They didn't think Earth had noticed. They thought Earth was irrelevant, too quiet. But humanity had seen, heard, prepared. Then came a single transmission. 4 words. TERT translated into every galactic dialect with lethal clarity. We missed the meetings. The Galactic Council declared an emergency assembly. Not all species arrived in time. Within a single cycle, 2 frontier stations were turned to drifting ash. No war declarations, no diplomatic chatter. Just annihilation. Orbital. Kinetic strikes that carved craters deep enough to crack planetary cores. By the time the Council issued a formal call for dialogue, Earth had already sealed every known wormhole gate, not under its direct control. Commerce collapsed, supply lines faltered, panic began to ripple across the outer colonies, but Earth didn't hurry. It moved with chilling patience like a predator wandering through prey that had forgotten what a hunter looked like. On Mars, under ancient battle domes, General Nathan Hale surveyed the unraveling galactic order from a fortified command vault. His face was weathered, shaped by 3 decades of quiet readiness. His voice like gravel when he finally spoke. We offered. Every opportunity, he muttered to the wall of glowing screens. Now, they'll understand what it costs to ignore a species that never begged for a seat because we returned to flip the table. Right. No cheering, no banners, no anthems. Only purpose and a fleet of black warships that never blinked. Had missed the meetings. Now the galaxy would listen. General Nathan Hale sat alone in the nerve center of Bastion 9, a black citadel buried beneath Mars's crimson sands. Above, the dust storms howled. Below, only silence the kind forged. By decades of grim anticipation, he wasn't built for parley. His hands had squeezed triggers long before they signed peace accords. His eyes had watched squads burn under orbital strikes, waiting for reinforcements that never came, reinforcements that never existed. Earth hadn't been overlooked. It had been betrayed. It began centuries earlier in the age of first contact. When Earth's fragile craft stumbled into the wider starscape, humanity didn't arrive with threats. They came seeking knowledge, extending peaceful signals, open hands, and for a while, they were received. Hale recalled the archive's hopeful transmissions, the early Terran envoys, nervous, yet proud, Images of them standing in towering alien chambers, surrounded by species grinning with needle fangs and glowing eyes. Then the trials began. Quiet at first, a missing colony ship explained away by solar flares, a science vessel that vanished after sending AA scrambled signal something about a failed first contact. Then came the confessions. An alien defector smuggled a data shard through Titan's smog-laced skies. Inside, dozens of files humans dissected alive. Brain activity labeled unstable yet promising, aliens laughing beside cages, and worse, the Galactic Council's governments had known. Not just known, approved it, quietly off the record, because humans, they claimed, were too emotional, too unstable, too young for a seat at the table. So Earth withdrew, shut down its comms, dismantled its embassy's feigned vulnerability, and let the stars forget. And while they mocked, Earth made ready. Nathan Hale's terminal pulsed. New alert at her asteroid perimeter. Put it on, he growled. Projection flickered into being a weathered, scarred man aboard a distant dreadnought. Commander. Bishop, checking in, came the clipped, frost-edged reply. Outer zone sweep complete. 16 Council recon drones down. No new movement yet. Hale narrowed his gaze. Did they transmit? Negative. Our jammers hit first. No trail, no signature. Far as they know, those drones vanished. Good war hadn't officially begun. But real war never waited for ceremony. It was momentum, fear. They're poking us, Bishop added, trying to see where the line is. Hale let the silence stretch. We don't blink. Bishop nodded once. Orders. Wipe them all. Leave one. One, sir. Let it limp back with our message. What message? Hale leaned forward, eyes sharp. That Earth doesn't make treaties with cowards who carve up our children. Bishop's jaw tightened. Yes, sir. The link cut out. Back on Earth, buried beneath sublevel 13 of the Appalachian Ridge, a man named Merrick strode between cryopods. Each pod marked with name, rank, purpose. He wasn't military. Not fully. He was a black Echo-An operation that officially didn't exist. Gene-honed, trained since childhood, erased from most databases when Earth left the galactic scene. Merrick and men like him had waited decades in frozen silence for a single command. That command came 2 days earlier. Awaken the Legion. Chambers hissed with the thaw. Each soldier held memories of Earth's betrayal. Some had witnessed it with their own eyes. Brothers kidnapped during off-world training, ops returned as butchered remnants. Others were simply told, shaped by agony into tools for a singular cause, make the stars regret forgetting Earth. Status, Merrick barked. A technician in gray looked up from her panel. 37 units online, neural sync within limits. Rage index higher than forecast. Good, Merrick muttered. We want them angry. Just don't let them flare too early. They've been frozen for years, she warned. You sure they're ready? Merrick stared at the awakening. Soldiers, they've been ready since the day the stars spit on their flag. 3 days later, the probe returned. It limped into a neutral corridor, hull scorched, sensors gutted. But it transmitted a single loop. Not speech, not threats, just imagery. The Terran Legion rising. Orbital platforms activating around long-abandoned moons. Titanic dreadnoughts emerging from asteroid belts like obsidian serpents. And then the final image, colossal cannon array parked near dead Callisto. Barrel alight, charging. Time stamp beneath. 72 hours. The meaning was brutal and clear. Earth had gifted the galaxy 3 centuries of silence. Now it offered them 3 days of dread. On Sarah Prime, the Council spiraled into disorder. Envoys shouted, holograms blinked red, armies scrambled. Behind sealed chambers, the debate wasn't how to stop Earth, it was whether they could. We misjudged, hissed Minister Vorson of the Drixel Combine. We thought they were broken. Instead, they built monsters. They're unstable, snarled a slan delegate. They breed chaos. Vengeance taints them. Should we seek peace? Whispered a Jadeskin yonder. Offer reparations. We did violate them, no? Orson snapped. Peace reeks of fear. We must strike first, and if they hit back harder... The silence that followed answered everything. On Mars, Hale reviewed ancient files never meant to be reopened. One showed a 12-year-old girl in stasis fluid, mouth locked in a silent scream. Captured during an outreach mission, dissected, discarded. Another humans paraded through alien streets, nude, bloodied placards, reading unfit species. The galaxy buried those memories. Earth never did. Men like Hale never could. He keyed a secure line. Merrick's face lit the screen. We move in 48, Hale said. Status. Merrick's tone was low. Legion is burning. Psyche checks at 94%. They want blood. They'll have it. Targets. Hale's eyes sharpened. Dravik 9 Labs. The birthplace of the organ markets. I don't want them seized. I want them gone. Merrick didn't smile, but his voice shifted. Consider it done. That night, Bishop stood on the bridge of the Oblivion Pike, watching stars slide by. One hand gripped the rail, fingers tracing ancient carvings, names of an early Terran freighter crew slaughtered during first contact. No bodies, just wreckage. One name read, Elias Bishop, his brother. The stars hadn't just forgotten Earth, they'd wounded it. That pain-shaped men like Bishop, Merrick, and Hale, men who no longer sought peace, it's only justice, the kind written in fire. He turned to his. Exo. Bring us close to the Draxel ring? Quiet vector. Come erase first, Bishop ordered. Soft strike, then full thrust. Make it loud. Let them feel Earth's response. His officer gave a crisp nod and moved to comply. To the stars hearing a whisper echo in memory, his brother's last letter. They think they're gods. Remind them they bleed like men. The first assault hit without mercy. Merrick's legion descended on Dravik 9 like a black storm. Cloaked dropcraft pierced the sky. Shock troops stormed in, no warnings, no speeches. It ended within an hour. The labs reduced to ash, the researchers executed. Council soldiers were given a choice. They chose wrong. Earth showed them how Terrans fight. Later, when the Council analyzed the aftermath, disbelief spread. These weren't rebels or mobs. They were soldiers trained, disciplined, exact. They took no prisoners. Only a single phrase marked the charred compound walls. This was the cost of silence. Earth didn't seek conquest. It didn't care for colonies or tribute. It wanted something deeper reverence born from agony. Now, for the first time, the galaxy understood something cold and final. Humanity had not gone quiet because it was. Afraid, it had gone quiet because it was preparing. And now it was ready. 1,000 warships floated above Council worlds. Not symbols of peace, gravestones. The Council called their answer Operation Redemption, a joint strike force of 72 warships. Its leader, Admiral Kareth, of the Ardon Imperium. Three-eyed, precise, and bred in war Kareths. Bloodline traced through centuries of conquest. Tactician, a terror, a legend, and now he would teach Earth humility. The strategy was blunt. Strike Earth's outer zones, force them into retreat, and parley from strength. Kareth stood aboard the Devotion's wound, his voice like sharpened glass. The humans grew arrogant in exile. They're fractured, isolated, they forgot there. Place Council members nodded, some in fear, some in denial. Earth had shaken them, but pride still clung like old rust. We strike fast. Outer supply belts, come chains blind them, cripple them. And if they respond? Vorson asked. They won't have time, Kareth replied, smiling thinly. The Council fleet surged into motion. Cloaked ships blinked into the dark near. Terran space around the scattered mining outposts of the Terran Accord, they expected cargo haulers and drones. What they found was extinction. The first wave entered the Parago's Drift, a graveyard of rock and wreckage from a forgotten mining. Collapse. Perfect ambush territory, Earth knew. As the fleet threaded through jagged debris, heat signatures began to pulse. Not rocks. Mines, grav-charge warheads, and layered shrapnel lethal enough to rip capital ships apart before Korath's sensors registered the spike. The first explosion ripped through the Athenary bolt, an Archon cruiser. The hull split like parchment. Its reactor ignited, shredding to escorts nearby. Comes burst with screams, then static, then a voice. Human.com, male. Broadcasted directly to the bridge of every council vessel. You came to our edge expecting fear. You were wrong. Welcome to Earth's version of diplomacy. Korath's jaw locked. Defensive perimeter. He barked. Shields up! Return fire! But there was nothing. No targets. The mines had vanished, and the Terrans were gone. Only drifting wreckage remained, silent ghosts of carnage. Korath clenched his fists. They want to bleed us slowly. Fine, move on. Target 2. Orbital descent. We'll take their damn colony and grind their flag into dust. Target 2. Vesta 9. A frozen mining base carved into a dead moon. Held no real tactical value. But it was iconic. The first Terran colony claimed after their disappearance. A symbol of quiet defiance in the cold. Korath dispatched a Strike Team 900 elite troops with mech walkers and orbital fire support. The orders: land, dominate, and broadcast Earth's humiliation. But from the moment they entered atmosphere, something felt wrong. Vesta 9 was silent. Too silent. Scans detected, no heat, no weapons, no signals, just stillness. A trap? Asked Commander Hurrix, Korath's ex. Oh, I don't care, Korath growled. Take the moon. We need a win. They landed near the colony core. Towers of frozen steel reached toward the purple sky. Teams spread through the ice-slick halls, weapons raised. No resistance, no movement. Then Bodhi's dozens, seated calmly in place, scientists, miners, engineers, all human, but their faces, not scared. Peaceful. Then came the voice. Triggered the moment they accessed the central power system. A man, Hale's voice. We knew you'd come. Vesta wasn't a shield. It was a vault. A tomb. These were the first to die while you watched, and did nothing. They froze here, cut off, pleading for aid that never came. Now, they wait for you too. Before the message ended, the doors slammed shut. All of them. Magnetic seals engaged. And then, the ceiling opened. Dozens of canisters fell. At first, they hissed like coolant. Then came fire. White phosphorus, an ancient Earth weapon band. By every galactic treaty, it devoured armor, skin, bone. Korath watched, horrified, as his entire strike team vanished in fire. He tried to jam the feed, break the broadcast, but Earth wanted them to watch. The final image burned into the Council fleet's eyes. A Terran. Flag scorched, swaying in synthetic wind, rising from the ash of the dead. News spread like wildfire. Vesta 9 wasn't captured. It wasn't destroyed. It was repurposed, turned into a death trap. 900 elite troops and 3 armored divisions, gone. Not a single human shot fired. Still, no one could locate the Terran. Fleet Earth had become a shadow, striking, then vanishing, always watching. Back on Serene Prime, fear began to take root. What if we can't win? Said Minister Garn. They're not just fighting, they're outthinking us. We have numbers, Vorkon growled. We have tech. They have purpose, Garn whispered. And men willing to die just to make a point. On Mars, inside a fortress carved into mountain stone, Hale and Merrick sat facing tactical screens. Vesta was a message, Merrick said. They'll hit back harder now. Good, Hale muttered. They'll slip. You sure this is the way? Hale stood, his face hard. They dissected our people like lab animals, then laughed while we begged for entry into their civilized order. He moved to the viewport. This isn't about peace anymore, Merrick. It's about memory, about making sure they never forget. Merrick gave a quiet nod. He understood. Korath was coming apart. Screamed orders, slammed consoles, executed hesitant officers. But fear like contagion had spread. Ships pulled back. Commanders questioned orders. And then came the breaking point. A lone Terran fighter, old obsolete, appeared near the Council's core supply ship, Vistera 1, a decoy. All eyes locked on it. No one noticed the 5 stealth torpedoes hidden in nearby debris, placed hours earlier. They struck. Didn't just destroy the supply ship. They split it in 2 and ignited 3 escort vessels. Over 2,000 dead. In seconds. That's when the fleet broke. Korath raged, threatened court-martials. But the war had already shifted. It wasn't pride now. It was survival. Earth watched the retreat from above. No cheers, no banners. Only confirmation that the galaxy had tasted what humanity had become. Hale shut off the screen. "We let them come," he said. "Now we bring it to them." Merrick turned. "The next target?" Hale's face was carved in steel. "The prison moons. The ones they swore didn't exist. Where they sent our people." Merrick nodded. "It's time the galaxy saw what real prisoners do when they come home." The Council had called them rehabilitation sites. Earth called them tombs. 12. In total, moons converted into off-road prison colonies scattered through lawless systems. Hidden behind names like Detention Satellite Theta or Experimental Isolation Zone. They weren't shown on charts. They had no defense fleets. No need. No one was ever meant to leave them. Inside, thousands of humans had disappeared: pioneers, diplomats, rebels, even children taken under study protocols. Officially, these moons never existed. Unofficially, they were where the galaxy dumped its guilt. Until now. Got the Manda. Merrick stood in the assault hangar of the TSV Vindicator, a dreadnought older than most planets. Its hull carried no flag, no symbol, no apology. It was built for retribution. He turned to 2 squads in silence. 24 soldiers, faces like iron. Ghosts from Black Site's Earth pretended didn't exist. Killers bred for silence. "The target is Lunar Station Ashra," Merrick said, pacing. "Unregistered moon in the Chias sector. No coms. No shields. No defense grid. They think we won't come." His gaze hardened. "Inside are guards from 8 species. Washed-up mercs. And ex-council scum. They've spent decades torturing our people, recording it, and feeding it to their research circles like it's education." He raised a hollow chip. The footage flickered. A girl, 10 years old maybe, chained, crying, alien voices laughing. Her name was Lena Caro, Merrick said. Vanished 70 years ago on a diplomatic shuttle. This is what they did to her. He crushed the chip in his hand. No prisoners. No broadcasts. No kindness. "I want that moon turned to cinder." The squad stood still, and one soldier asked, voice like gravel, "Confirm identities?" Merrick met his eyes. "Only if you want names before you end them." The drop came quiet. No alarms. No beacons. Ashra's old systems didn't even register the Terran descent. The moon itself was a dead rock spinning near a collapsed giant. Its surface a mess of broken towers, blast holes, and slag. Below it, prison decks, labs, pits, pain, the whole place designed to erase souls. The team breached from the North Ridge, cutting through a forgotten vent shaft. Merrick had done raids before, but this felt worse, heavier, familiar. The stink came first: decay ash, solvents, and something fouler. A human stink buried in stone. Then sound, no screams, just a hum. Machinery repeating its cruelty like a lullaby.
Ow.
On the wall, in trade glyphs over faint English, "Obey and pain is brief." The guards died fast. The first group caught mid-meal, shoveling meat paste and laughing at warped reels. The footage showed pit fights. Humans forced to kill for sport. One guard raised a mug just as the first charge split the wall wide open. The Terrans didn't waste bullets on justice with fire. The skies above Sarah Prime had never known invasion. It was the ceremonial heart of the stars. A glittering sanctuary of spiral towers, sky bridges, iridescent rivers spanning continents, artists, scholars, envoys, the cradle of 1,000 species greatness. But none of that mattered anymore. Earth had arrived. Its vessels came. Like obsidian blades across silk, blotting out constellations in perfect, brutal silence. No warnings, no terms. Just a shadow too vast to escape. Inside the Grand Council dome, Minister Vorkin's voice trembled as he stood at the tactical sphere. His skin flushed a terrified hue. "They're forming a ring along our outer defense shell," he rasped. "No transmissions, no ultimatums." "They've moved beyond negotiation," Garn muttered. "This isn't a threat, it's control. And why aren't they firing?" No one answered. Because Earth didn't have to. Silence was. Louder than weapons. Across every broadcast on Sarah Prime, a single video looped, the blackened corpse of the Ashra warden, still twitching, staring into the lens. Beneath it, the caption, "This is not war. This is memory." Aboard the TSV Apex, General Nathan Hale observed the capital below through a magnified viewport. He watched the panicked civilians stampeding toward emergency ships, merchant craft deflecting off orbital blockades. No missiles, no lasers. Just invisible AI sentries gently forcing them back. "Let them feel what we felt," he said. Then beg like Earth did. Merrick stepped in behind him, helmet tucked under one arm. His armor was torn, soot-streaked. "They're never going to surrender," he said. "I don't want surrender," Hale replied. "Want collapse." "We targeting the cities?" "Not yet." Hale's voice went razor-sharp. "We start with the spires, the think tanks, their heritage sites. Let them watch their soul burn before the body." Merrick exhaled. "Turning paradise into a tomb." Hale nodded. "Exactly like they did. To us, on Sarah Prime, emergency council sessions fractured into screams. They'll glass the core zones," shouted the Yonder delegate. "My children are in Haven North." "They haven't fired," Corinth said weakly. War Hero turned. "Ghost, there's still time we offer." "Something offer what?" Garn snapped. "They don't want land or currency. They want blood." Vorkin straightened. "For once, calm. There is one contingency." A silence crushed the room. No, Garn barked. "You don't mean it's all that's left?" Vorkon replied. "You saw what happened to Ashra, to Dravak? They erased our fleets, humiliated our command. The humans want judgment." Korth shuddered. "So we unleash a nightmare." Vorkin tapped into a sealed archive. One name glowed in red. Project Null Light. Decades ago, during Earth's political collapse, the Council had designed a final failsafe. If Earth ever rose too far, it would be undone from within. That contingency was Nullita, biological weapon built in man's image, sculpted. By alien code, driven by Terran blood, not human in thought. Not anymore. It had been exiled to cryostasis beneath an unlisted moon, too deadly to use, too wild to risk. Until now, Hale sensed it before the first alarm. "Sir, abnormal readings from surface tectonics," came the operator's voice. The sensors above Sarah Prime went crimson. Energy surged subsurface, not a vessel, not artillery. Something alive? "What the hell is that?" Merrick asked, his voice tight. Biometric read. "Human, no," Hale whispered. "That's not one of ours." Live feed auto-dash activated in a cracked plaza of an ancient temple district. Something emerged. It looked like a man barely. Tan skin, mid-30s build, hairless, disturbingly pale. Metallic veins writhed under his skin. His eyes shone with engineered illumination. He moved like a puppet, without strings, smooth, too smooth. But it wasn't his form that silenced the bridge. It was his voice, resonating through every Terran frequency. "Nathan Hale, you were my mentor. Now I am your sentence." Hale's breath caught. The voice, he knew it. "Asher Grant," he muttered. "Once a protege, now a monster." The explosion tore through the AI core, cascading into the neural lattice Nullite had infected. The planet-wide systems crashed, falling into silence. Fires dimmed, orbital cannons froze. Above, Earth's fleet held position. Unmoving, unreadable. General Hale emerged from the rubble, his armor scorched, half his face bloodied. Merrick limped beside him, eyes scanning the devastation. "It's done," Merrick muttered. "No," Hale said, voice low. It's begun. Back in the Grand Council bunker, the silence was unbearable. Screens flickered static. Ministers wept openly. Vorkin stood unmoving, watching the Terran ships drift like judgment above Sarah Prime. Garn finally spoke. We tried to control the storm and learned to hate the sky. In orbit, the Apex received a new signal. For words again, the same as before. This is not war. A pause. Hale looked down at him. The alien trembled not from fear, but from exhaustion, from the weight of generations, begging not to be erased in the tides of vengeance. Behind Hale, Merrick stood still, rifle slung but unsafetied. Around them, Terran soldiers watched silently, faces unreadable behind their visors. You speak of honor, Hale said, his voice low and frigid. But you said nothing when they butchered our diplomats, when they turned our children into exhibits, when they called our pain primitive. The alien bowed his head lower. We were afraid. So were we, Hale replied. But we learned. A long silence. Then, finally, he motioned for Merrick. Send a message. This colony is spared. Merrick blinked. Sir? Spared. Let them keep their libraries. Let them teach our history. Let them remember we looked them in the eye and chose restraint. The alien wept silently as Hale turned to leave. But as he walked away, he didn't feel peace. Wait. Only the distant echoes of the boy he used. To be before all this began, before Earth remembered what it meant to be alone. We taught your history to our children. We never believed the lies they told about you. Hale said nothing. Behind him, Merrick remained still, hand resting on his sidearm. The elder alien looked up. Please, tell us what you want. Hale stepped forward, crouched, and said softly, I want you to remember that when we could have burned you, we didn't. The alien nodded, visibly shaking. Then Hale stood and walked away. That night, Merrick confronted him. Let them live? Yes, Hale said. Why? Because we have to leave something behind? Merrick frowned. We spent years making sure the galaxy remembers our pain. Now Hale replied slowly, we need them to remember our choice. Back on Earth, silence crept in. People watched uncertain, not for a battle, but for purpose. What now? No more fleets? No more threats? Just ruins and ghosts? Hale returned alone to Bastion 9 on Mars. No victory parade? Walked the dim halls past statues, names carved in. Obsidian children stolen, soldiers lost, ships never found. In the command room, he sat alone. The screen blinked one message. All systems silent. No enemies. No voices left to silence. Yet the weight stayed. Revenge never gives peace. It buries the noise beneath blood. Merrick entered an hour later. Command wants to know what's next, he said. Colonies are waiting. Council's gone. Trade is ours. Half the stars, too. Hale said nothing. Merrick sat beside him. No armor, just a shirt smeared with ash. We won, he said. No, Hale whispered. We survived louder than they expected. Merrick leaned back. So what now? Rebuild. Looked at him, rewrite. 6 months after Serene Prime fell, the galaxy had changed. The Council was gone. Its laws burned. Its worlds either fled, disarmed, or bent to Terran law. The great capitals stood silent, patrolled by Terran fleets. Earth's black-helmed sentries monitored wormholes, locked trade lanes, enforced the new order. Some called it justice. Others, occupation. Called it proof. Proof the galaxy had learned to speak in Earth's language, not peace, not protocol, but fear. Men like General Hale should have felt pride. He didn't. He spoke less now. Walked silent corridors on Bastion 9, haunted by memory and names carved in black steel. The monument plaza stretched higher, 20 meters of etched carbon, civilians, soldiers, the lost. Their war became legacy, but Hale felt no glory, not when one name remained uncarved, his own. In outer colonies, enforcement became automated. Legion drones watched streets. Memory discipline, Merrick's design, enforced silence, council symbols, banned non-Terran history, forbidden, flags, destroyed. Punishment was exile or worse. The colonies obeyed, but not all quietly. On Oral's Drift, a blackout struck during the third week of scanning. A basic audit mission ended in static. Hale read the report in his quarters. One message had survived. They remember everything. They're not sorry. They're preparing. Then silence. 3 days later, Merrick stood in the war room, armored, helmet in hand. "We found the ship," he said. "Audit cruisers shot down. Crew executed. No survivors. Mixed species. Ex-council. Some Terran-born." Hale's gaze lifted. "Terrans? Killed Terrans? Looks like it. Motive?" "They don't need one," Merrick said. "They just needed time." Hale stood. "Prep a strike team. We're going down." Merrick nodded report twice. Then a third time. He didn't speak. He didn't move. Merrick stood across the room, arms crossed, watching him with the unreadable stillness of a soldier waiting for orders he already knew he wouldn't like. "They're using your words now," Merrick said finally. "Not as accusation, just fact." "I know," Hale replied, voice low. "They're calling it the Ash Rebellion." Hale closed his eyes. That name, it wasn't from a war map. It was from before, back when words still carried weight. Back when rage hadn't yet drowned principle. Ash, as in what's left after fire, as in what remains when everything else is gone. "They're not trying to destroy us," Merrick continued, "trying to replace us. With you, the old you." "Man's dead," Hale said. "Then you better bury him fast. Because the galaxy's digging him up." Silence again. Kind of silence that comes before tectonic shifts. Hale stood slowly, walked to the window overlooking the parade square. Drones moved like ants between armor columns. Above, ships cut. Across the blood-colored sky like blades. "What would you have me do?" he asked without turning. "Control the narrative," Merrick said. "Root them out. Tighten the net. Mind them who holds the line. Or this splinters into 1,000. Oral's drifts. And if it already has?" Hale whispered. Merrick said nothing. That night, Hale walked alone again, deep into the vault beneath Bastion 9, past the war memorials, past the data cores, into the unlisted chamber with no access logs. Inside, on a pedestal of blackened alloy, sat the original mission charter, burned, scarred, but intact. The first Terran declaration to the stars. A promise of unity, fire and memory. He stared at it a long time. Then he reached into his coat, pulled out a data slate, and began to write. Not a command. Not a doctrine, a speech. "You know what we gave them? What we sacrificed to win this damn peace." Hale's voice was quiet, almost tired. "Maybe that's the problem. We sacrificed so much, we forgot who it was for." Merrick slammed the report down, fingers trembling. "This isn't a philosophical debate. This is a war for control." "No." Hale cut him off, standing. "That war is over, and we won, and now we're the ones being tested." Merrick's eyes narrowed. Tested by who? Our own legacy. Outside, alarms began to wail not from an attack, but from a mass data burst. Civilian networks, military channels, even encrypted lines were flooded simultaneously. A single file, a recording. Hale recognized the voice before the image loaded. It was his voice again, but from decades ago. A speech he gave to the Exodus colonies back when hope still outweighed hate. "We are not here to conquer the stars. We are here to deserve them. Every boot that touches foreign soil must carry not just might but memory. We carry Earth with us not as a weapon, but as a warning." The footage cut to scenes of recent raids, civilian homes burning, protesters dragged away in silence. The names from the kill list, now given faces, the remembered had made their message clear. Earth had become the very empire it once swore to overthrow. General Nathan Hale looked around the command room at screens filled with rising dissent, at officers whispering behind hands, at Merrick seething with betrayal and fear. "Prepare the council," Hale said finally. "For what?" Merrick asked, voice brittle. "For succession? You're resigning?" He asked, stunned. "I'm surrendering," Hale replied. not to them, to myself. And with that, he walked away. The war tables, past the sealed doors, out into a world that no longer needed generals, only witnesses. Witnesses who could remember the cost, not just the victory. Because the stars remember everything, especially the lies we tell ourselves. You think any of this was easy? Merrick growled. Do they know what it cost to make the galaxy kneel? The blood it took to carve them a future where they weren't mocked, enslaved, or butchered. They know, Hale replied. They just don't want that kind of future anymore. Merrick paced, restless, boiling. Then crush it. Crush all of it. Burn the rebellion into legend. One lesson. Permanent. No, Hale said, voice low. We've done enough forgetting. Merrick froze, eyes blazing. You're going soft. I'm going human, Hale murmured. That night, beneath Bastion 9, Hale returned to the most forbidden place in Terran space, the Ash Vault. Only 3 had clearance. 2 were dead. He sat before the terminal, entered the last key sequence. Initiate protocol Ashes. Confirm identity. His hand pressed the biopad. Scan complete. Access granted. Ashes protocol engaged. Burn the black slate, but not deletion-release. Within hours, data cascaded across the Terran sphere. Every world, every system, every screen. Unfiltered truth poured out. Footage of atrocities, orbital cleansings, children in Vesta labs, silent genocide in council archives, prison moons, ghost fleets, black sites, and Hale's face in most of them. The idol, the butcher, the unspoken cost. Panic gripped the high command. Emergency protocols scrambled to contain it. Too late. The truth had teeth.
Oh, the galaxy watched.
Earth's shame flicker across stars. Humanity had won by becoming the very monster it once vowed to destroy, and Hale made sure they'd never forget. The next morning, Merrick entered Hale's quarters in silence. He held a loaded pistol. His hand shook. You gave them everything, he rasped. I gave them the truth. You betrayed us, everything we built, the fear, reverence. We were gods. No, Hale said softly. We were monsters wrapped in flags. We're supposed to be the last wall, Merrick whispered, eyes wet. Not the first crack. I was never the wall, Hale said. I was the fuse. They stood there, frozen. Then Merrick dropped the pistol, turned, walked out without a word. Hale knew that was goodbye. That evening, he sent one final message. Open channel, no encryption. Every language. His voice was worn, raw, honest. I was. There when they called us vermin, when they dissected us, and they spit on our flag. I was there when Earth rose, when we burned their empires, when we made them fear shadows again. But I'm also here now, and I see what we've become. We traded silence for supremacy, pain for pride. But somewhere in the fire, we lost our soul.
Ow.
Let this be the last war of forgetting.
Ow.
Let us be remembered not for what we ended, but for what we refused to destroy. Then Hale shut down the feed, turned out the lights, and walked away. Years passed,